Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing Gears of War Judgment, and this is my 3 stars declassified insane difficulty guide and walkthrough. We are currently on Act 2-6. It is entitled Crash Site, and for this declassified, they're going to add Centipedes and the Corpsers. And in the last video, I mentioned that you should, and maybe I shouldn't have used the word should, grab the tripwire crossbow. That was right where I was a moment ago against those blocks. And I don't regret saying that you should bring that into this stage, because if someone does want to use that, then I wanted to make sure that they were able to be having that and not have any complications with it disappearing from a fresh section reload start of this chapter. But you might notice that I have started this chapter fresh, just from starting a section restart. And I am going to recommend, if you want to use the tripwire crossbow, that's completely up to you. But I'm going to recommend, since Wave 2 is the most difficult, that you plant these 2 turrets into this hallway in anticipation of Wave 2. We're not going to use them for Wave 2. They might kill some enemies in Wave 1, but we're going to stay over here, so they should. I don't know what the hell that was. But I wasn't wrong about saying anything about the tripwire disappearing or anything like that. It does disappear, and if you want to use it, you definitely can. I don't set up any fortifications over here because the tickers are just going to destroy them anyway. I mean, I don't set down any tripwires. I don't have the tripwire. If I had the tripwire, I wouldn't waste tripwire crossbows on enemies that are just going to run through them, such as those fucking tickers. Okay? And another bad thing about the tripwire crossbow is if you are attempting to carry turrets over to that hallway while you're holding the tripwire crossbow, the tripwire crossbow will fall off of you, and you have to go back and get it. And on Wave 2, you only get 30 seconds. So it's basically, you don't get any time to do anything. They give you plenty of time to set up things on Wave 1, but Wave 2, 30 seconds is nothing. So on Wave 1, where you get 90 seconds, it's much more doable. So I'm going to say that the tripwire crossbow, while I love the tripwire crossbow, and I recommend it, and I always use it when I think that it's not going to be a detriment like it is here, even though it's not much of a detriment as much as it is a distraction, and it could slow you down, and actually it could be detrimental actually, because you can get into a zone of thinking that when the checkpoint hits, if you're not holding the tripwire crossbow, you are going to lose it off of a subsequent checkpoint restart, off of a death or a manual checkpoint reset. So it's just not worth it. On other instances and on other chapters, the tripwire crossbow is instrumental, and it's very helpful, and it's fun to use, and it's effective. And but just here, it's just not helpful, and I would call it more of a distraction than anything else. So do a fresh set of if you want to do this way, because this wave, sacrificing the turrets is not that bad. All it is tickers, cedars, and corpsers. That's it. You can find frag grenades all over the place over here. Use the frag grenades to kill the corpsers. Don't worry about your star accumulation over here too much, because you're going to make up for it on the back end. And even if you don't, the game is not going to instantly checkpoint at the end of Wave 2, so that you can redo Wave 2 if you need to. So, yes, having the turrets is a little bit more helpful on Wave 1, but I'm telling you, the main difficulty you'll face is Wave 2. There's 2 waves. Wave 2 is ridiculously difficult. So what I'm going to recommend is that you place those turrets over there thusly that I did, and then we'll get on with it. I'll show you what I placed. There's a couple of grenades over here too. Also, when you're carrying the tripwire crossbow, if you're too conscious of having to be holding it when the checkpoint occurs so that you can always be holding it from subsequent restarts, it's going to cause you to back off and hold back when you really shouldn't be doing that. You should be on these corpsers as much as you can, getting as many stars attributes as you possibly can. But this wave is now finished, and here's the second wave. I'm going to head over to the hallway that I mentioned and stick there for the most part. The turret that I'm passing right now, this is the Rain Sentinel, and at the back is where I place the Nasher Sentinel. There's also a nice Onyx cache over here, so you can refill on all of your ammo. And your teammates are going to be at the crash site itself, and enemies are going to be marching down this hall, winding their proverbial, goddamn fucking horns, things like that. If you've been with me a long time, you know what I mean. If you don't, you probably think I'm being silly or something, and crazy. But they're just any enemy that's a horn winder or someone that just walks up to you and causes trouble you that way. So what are you going to get here? Anything. You can get Cantuses, Wretches, Butchers, Cleaver Therons, Boomers, Theron Guards, Maulers. The Maulers are probably the most difficult because of their shield. But if you can get a shield back here, you can get even more cover. And that might be also one of your concerns. Well, there's not much cover back here. Well, Gears Judgment on Insane is a little bit more lenient where that's concerned. So you don't have to be in cover as much as the other games. Although you need to be in cover to survive. I'm just saying that it's a tad bit more lenient. And there are some benches that you can hide behind. But for the most part, these turrets can swivel 360 degrees around to protect you. They're going to do the job for you. Not having these here is a horrendous hardship for you. And like I said, don't worry. Enemies will find you. This is like Ninja Gaiden 2. Don't worry. Enemies will find you. They've got your number. They know where you are. They'll find you. They'll find you and they'll rape you and your family. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, though. But you do have to be careful of anytime you kind of creep out. If there's a lull, you want to creep out carefully. And anytime you see a boomer or a mauler or anything dangerous coming over to you, you need to make sure that you're as far back as possible. Use this nice trick to aim out over your left shoulder if you're going to be moving into any situation where to aim over the right shoulder would be more vulnerable on your part. But once the bulk of the enemies are gone, I missed him a couple times because I was panicking. How long did this take me? Probably 2 hours because I kept trying to do it different ways. And I wasn't altogether sure that these turrets would stay over here beyond the checkpoint, but they do. So it's actually quite helpful that, in fact, they do. And when the fight is over, though, if you don't have all the stars, just quickly reset the checkpoint. And it doesn't even have to be quickly either. Just reset the checkpoint and then redo it so that you can get all the stars. But some bad case scenarios would be boomers coming down here and the maulers. Those are the tough ones because the maulers have such a high amount of defense that they can make their way over to you in an uncanny manner. And then, of course, you've got the cleaver guys and everybody else trying to destroy the turrets. But as long as these turrets haven't been used in Wave 1, the way they normally are used, here we go, you really need to use the grenades on these guys and just wait for them to lower their shield so you can try to be a little bit more accurate. But sometimes you can be really accurate and they just keep taking a beating that they oughtn't to. And the nice thing is, though, if they drop a boom shield over here, we could stick it on the ground and have a little bit more cover. I think that might be what happens at some point, so I could show you it. So keep resetting these turrets, and if you have the ability, grab a boom shield. I see a boom shield over there to the left, but we've got another mauler coming, swinging his mace, winding his horn, being an asshole, as they traditionally are, and keep spotting enemies. I did go through this once where I survived and I didn't get all the stars, but this should usually, and I usually don't like using idiomatic language, but this usually should go with the territory. The game, when you know what it ticks, you know what makes it tick and things like that, and you know what it takes to survive and win and succeed and have an advantage. It shouldn't be that bad, but I am going to stick this over here so that I could have a little bit more protection. So now we've got a bench and a boom shield to protect us. And we've got a torque too. And we've got another mauler. So it's going to be up to the game what caprice it wants to present to you. That is to say, if you get a lot of maulers, it's going to be up to the game's whim. If you get a lot of Theron guards, boomers, anything, I'm panicking. I'm really getting terrified here because I kept doing this, kept dying, and it's just, I think it's a lot safer this way than staying in the main crash site because all the enemies just come right to you. And that is a bad thing if you don't have protection, but with those two turrets, you have as much protection as possible. And if you did want to incorporate the tripwire crossbow, it would be helpful, but it would be a little bit difficult because, like I said, the goddamn thing drops when you go pick up a turret. And with only 30 seconds left in Wave 1, Wave 2, it's just not going to have enough time for you to do what you want to do, and that's really too bad. But I believe everything's finished. The Cantus was the last enemy that we had to kill, and then we'll be going into the new section, and it will be a new section of testimony. In fact, Sophia's testimony is all finished up, and we will see the score sheets, and I will see you in the third act. Until then, please take care.